Before we begin, I just want to say thanks again for 700 subscribers. Viewers, your support is honestly what helps this channel keep going. But today, I won't be the one who will read this tale out to you. Instead, my own mother shall take the wheel for this one and the next special. This story comes from my grandmother, so it's only fitting that I allow her daughter the rights to this one. Rest in peace, Grandma, and I really hope I do you justice with this one.
Come closer, won't you? Grandma Ivy's voice was always a little rough, but it wrapped around you like the smell of cookies from the oven. She'd pat the old armchair, the one that always smelled of lavender and stories. Your mother thinks I make things up, but this is real. It happened long ago, before your daddy was even a dream. Some mistakes, they follow you no matter how far you run. She'd lean back, her eyes losing their sparkle, drifting somewhere far away. It was the Great Depression. The world was hungry and hope was thin as paper. Grandma Ivy was young then, with two little ones, me, Ruthie, and my brother William. We laughed, we played, we didn't know how empty the cupboards were, but she couldn't feed us. No matter how hard she tried, there was never enough. So she made a choice, a terrible choice that haunted her and us forever. She gave us away to strangers with full pantries and empty arms. It broke her heart. She told herself we'd be safe, that we'd be happy. But a mother's heart never lets go, not really. Grandma would pause, staring at something only she could see. Years passed. She moved away, started over, had Grandpa and your dad. But sometimes she'd see us, not with her eyes, not really, just a flicker, a shadow at the edge of her world, two small shapes, always just out of reach. She'd say it was guilt, her mind playing tricks. Then the knocking began. Always on the same night, the night she let us go. A soft, steady knock at the door. She'd look, but no one was ever there. Just the empty porch and the cold night, but she could feel us watching from the dark. One night the knocking grew louder, more desperate. Then voices, our voices. Mama, Mama, let us in. She was so scared she knew it was us, Ruthie and William, come home at last. But we weren't laughing anymore. Our voices were empty, echoing with sadness. She locked every bolt on the door, all 8. She hid in her bed, clutching her prayers, listening to us cry. We weren't angry, just lost. We wanted to come home, but she knew if she opened that door, we wouldn't be her sweet babies anymore. We'd be something else, something that wandered too long in the dark. It went on for hours, their little hands tapping at the windows, their faces pale and gaunt, peering through the glass. Their eyes, son, their eyes were just black, empty. It was the most terrifying night of my life. When the sun finally rose, they were gone. But the memory never left. Grandma Ivy sighed, a long, weary sound. Even when I got older and my mind started to play tricks on me, they were still there. The nurses at the assisted living home, they said I'd talk about my little children and how they were coming to visit. And just before I left this world, they said a group of polite, quiet children came to visit me. Black eyes, they said, and I was screaming, my little man, screaming for them to go away. She reached out and gently squeezed my hand. So remember this, my sweet boy. Sometimes the scariest things aren't ghosts in a sheet, but the shadows of our own choices coming back to remind us of what we've lost. And some doors once closed are best left that way, even if the little ones on the other side are calling your name. Her eyes twinkled then, a hint of her usual self returning. Now don't you go having nightmares, you hear? It was a long, long time ago. But it's a story worth telling, so you know that even grandmas have their secrets, and sometimes those secrets have teeth. You see, my boy, it wasn't just the knocking or the whispers. It was the way they changed. At first they were just shadows, vague shapes in the periphery, but as the years turned into decades, they grew clearer, more defined. They were still Ruthie and William in a way, but twisted like reflections in a funhouse mirror. Their skin was too pale, almost translucent, and their hair, once bright and full of life, hung limp and dull. And those eyes, those black, empty eyes, they weren't just dark, they were voids, sucking all the light and warmth out of the room, out of me. I tried everything to make them leave. I prayed, I burned sage. I even had a priest come bless the house once. He left looking paler than I felt, muttering about unsettled spirits and deep-seated sorrow, but nothing worked. They were bound to me, a constant chilling reminder of my past. They didn't want to hurt me, not physically. They wanted something far worse. They wanted to be remembered, to be acknowledged, to be let back into the life I had built without them. The scariest part, grandson, wasn't their appearance or their pleas. It was the feeling they brought with them, a suffocating cold that seeped into my bones, a profound loneliness that echoed the emptiness in their eyes. It was the feeling that I was slowly, irrevocably becoming one of them, that their sorrow was becoming my sorrow, their endless waiting, my endless waiting. Sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night, convinced I heard tiny footsteps padding across the floorboards, or the faint sound of a child's lullaby sung in a voice that was both familiar and utterly alien. I'd find toys I hadn't seen in years, toys that belonged to Ruthie and William, placed carefully on my bedside table, a small wooden soldier, a faded rag doll. They were playing with my mind, chipping away at my sanity, one chilling reminder at a time. And the dreams, oh, the dreams were the worst. I'd be back in that moment, standing at the crossroads, holding their tiny hands, telling them goodbye. But in the dream, their grip would tighten, their eyes would turn black, and they'd whisper, "You promised, Mama. You promised you'd come back for us." And I'd wake up in a cold sweat, the phantom touch of their hands still clinging to mine. When I finally moved to the assisted living home, I thought I'd be free. A new place, new faces, away from the house where their presence was so strong. But they followed me, my boy. They always followed. The nurses, they'd complain about the strange drafts in my room, the way the lights would flicker, the unsettling feeling they got when they were alone with me. They thought I was just an old woman losing her mind, but I knew better. That last night before I passed, it wasn't just a group of polite, quiet children. It was Ruthie and William standing at the foot of my bed, their black eyes fixed on me. They weren't whispering anymore, they were smiling, a wide, unnatural smile that stretched their pale faces, and they held out their hands, beckoning me. "Come play with us, Mama," they said, their voices a chilling harmony. "We've been waiting so long." And I knew in that moment that my time was up, that the debt I owed, the promise I broke, was finally being collected. I screamed not out of fear, but out of a desperate, primal understanding. They weren't just ghosts, they were the embodiment of my regret, my guilt, come to claim me. And, as their cold, tiny hands reached for mine, I knew I was finally going home to play with my little ones, forever. Grandma Ivy's hand, which had been gently squeezing mine, suddenly felt cold, almost clammy. Her eyes, though still twinkling, held a depth of sorrow I hadn't noticed before. "So you see, my sweet boy," she finished, her voice barely a whisper, "some stories aren't just stories, they're warnings, and some choices, no matter how long ago they were made, have a way of catching up to you, especially when the ones you left behind are still waiting." She smiled, a faint, tired smile. "Now run along, go play. But remember, always remember that the past isn't always buried. Sometimes it just waits for you to open the door.
Please shout out my mother in the comments, viewers. She did an excellent job in joining me today for this special. If you want more of her, let me know below, and might as well subscribe and click the notification bell for my next uploads coming up very soon. Next up should be the 800 sub special. I'm really glad I finally figured out what I will be doing for the specials going forward. Took me long enough, but this journey really has taught me a lot, more than I can express in words. But once again, thanks viewers. I hope to see more of you and continue to grow into the near future and further. But now we must lurk back into the dark and continue, for we're always watching.